What's going on, everybody? Tom here with Black Sheep Keto, and welcome to another video just for you subscribers out there. And if you're not a subscriber yet, please consider doing so. Now today, Olivia and I were talking, and we kind of wanted to come up with a list of our top 10 or so favorite things that we ever bought for our ketogenic diet or lifestyle in general. So these are things that maybe it's not such a keto specific thing, maybe it's just something for the kitchen, maybe it's something that we got for free. But the point is we found that these really benefited us and helped us stay keto or helped us with keto in some way. So we're going to start off with number 1 and work our way to number 10. I wanted to do it the other way to build some suspense for you guys, but these things really do kind of build on each other, and I think it's important that we give them in the proper order. So that sounds good to you guys? Hang on tight, and let's get right into it. Now, real quick, before we start this, I just want to let you guys know any of the physical items that we're going to be talking about in this, we will put a link in the description to the exact ones that we actually have. And I think we're going to kind of just go back and forth with down the list. And I did say there were 10. Now, there are 2 at the end that I'm going to talk about that are probably like my favorite things for keto, but I didn't think they really had a place on this list because it might just be me. So if you're interested in that, that'll be at the end. So let's start with number 1. And this is probably the most important thing for any diet, but a food scale. Now, how are you supposed to know how many carbs you're taking in, how much of a food you're eating if you don't have a scale? Sure, some packaging has like a volume measurement, like a tablespoon, a cup, whatever. And that can be useful sometimes, but they usually give you the weight in grams right next to it. And that's gonna be more accurate because it's really easy to overfill or underfill a measuring cup, and you're really not tracking your macros properly at that point. So I find a food scale to be the absolute best thing you can buy for any diet, and especially measuring meats. You can't do that by volume.
So the second item on our list is a food tracking app. Personally, I like to use the app called Carb Manager, and that's because on that app I can make my personalized ketogenic macros rather than just, the 40% that they do for a standard diet. With the food tracking app, I use it with the scale, and I use it to make sure that I'm eating the right amount of food each day.
So the other thing about like a food tracking app is you can totally do this by hand, like on a piece of paper, but you carry your cell phone with you everywhere, so it's really convenient to have on there. And a lot of these things like Carb Manager, they do have different fast food chains, restaurants, things like that you may want to put in there or look it up when you're sitting at a restaurant. Additionally, you can create your own recipes. So like our keto recipes, being the recipe creators, we do a lot of these things. And when I go back and eat those things that I've made in the past, I already have a recipe saved in my Carb Manager, and I can go ahead and just add that right back in. So that's super convenient. I've tried a lot of them. It doesn't really matter which one you use, but I do like Carb Manager the best. I have tried like MyFitnessPal and those kind of ones, but I realized that like they really wanted you to pay to get any useful features. And while Carb Manager does have a premium subscription, I personally don't have it. And I can set my macros and my calories however I want. I actually have found no real reason to ever want to buy the premium one. So it's free, may as well use it, right?
It's free and it's convenient because it also has a scanner on it.
As with any of them though, just double check that the macros look right. Sometimes somebody punches it in there funny, but for the most part, it's awesome. Next up on our list is a box club membership. And what I'm talking about here is something like Sam's Club, Costco, any of those that I might not actually know of or we might not have out here. The whole point of this is you can get keto ingredients there really cheap comparatively to like Whole Foods, Sprouts, whatever you've got. Just to give a quick example, when I go do Sam's Club, because the nearest Costco is quite a ways away, so I actually have a Sam's Club membership. When I go to Sam's Club, I can get a 3-pound bag of Blue Diamond fine sifted almond flour for $13. Now, if I go to, Sprouts down the road, it's about $26 for a same size bag. Now, they do use Bob's Red Mill there, but in all honesty, fine almond flour is fine almond flour. So it doesn't really matter the brand. I'm gonna go and take the 3 pounds for $13 instead of the 3 pounds for $25 any day of the week. It's things like cheese crisps. I can get a big bag of them at Sam's Club for, $8-10, whereas I'm paying $5 for a really small bag at the grocery store. There are certain things where it just makes sense to buy it in bulk, and I have found that I've saved a ton of money on keto over the years just going there and buying the stuff that I need in bulk.
All right, so next on our list is a vacuum bagger. When we go and buy things in bulk, we don't want them to spoil right away because then what would be the point in buying it in bulk? So what we do is we take it and we seal it up. It makes it wonderful for when we're sealing meat and putting it in the deep freezer. We're not getting freezer burn. Our food isn't spoiling because it's not being exposed to the air, and that also helps us save a lot of money.
And the one that I have is specifically called a Game Saver made by Food Saver. Now, the reason I have that one is it actually has a USB plug as well, so I do hunt and it's pretty convenient to take with me for those purposes. But the big thing that we get the use out of for the Food Saver, though you can use it for vegetables and all sorts of other things, I find that it works really well for meat because it's able to remove all of that air, so it actually holds longer in your refrigerator and it holds even longer in the freezer without freezer burn. Because in order to save money, what I typically do is I will go to my butcher and I'll just buy a whole chunk of meat, whatever type of meat I'm looking for, and they'll sell it to me cheaper because it's bulk and they didn't really have to do the work of breaking it down. And I don't mind doing the work of breaking down the meat myself, so I end up with, we just did a whole prime rib side, and I got a full rack of beef ribs and I think 13 1-pound steaks out of it, and I paid $100. That's not bad. Retail value on that, if you bought it already cut down, we calculated it somewhere around $175. So having that vacuum bagger allows me to do things like that and save a decent amount of money. Now, next up on our list is a good quality reusable water bottle. Now, this may seem extremely obvious and you guys probably already have one, but we've kind of found that it's something that we use super frequently and didn't really use before we started keto. Now, as you probably know, on keto, you're going to be drinking more water than you probably have any other time in your life, and that's totally a good thing, and it's very necessary with the keto diet for reasons which I'm not going to cover in this video. But the point being, get yourself a nice, good size reusable water bottle. I personally use a hydro flask because it gets hot in Las Vegas and I like to have it cold all day long, but it allows me to carry that water with me everywhere I go, and when it's sitting on my desk, it's a nice reminder that, oh yeah, you should probably drink a little bit of water. Moving on to the next one is something that we recently added to the house, but I still think it has a good spot on this list, and that is a SodaStream. To go along with the previous one, obviously you're going to be drinking a lot more liquids on keto, and I really do get tired of water. This is a problem of mine. I drink probably too much soda. Diet Coke you can have on keto, but the sweeteners in there aren't great for you, and I really just wanted to cut down on it. So since we got this thing, I found that it's fantastic. I just take water out of my refrigerator, carbonate it, and then I'll add some of those Mio drops, or they even do sell soda mixes for it. But what I've been missing, or what I really liked about the soda, was the kind of fizzy texture to it. And that kind of gave me a break from that flat dullness of water. So now I'm just basically using flavor drops in sparkling water, and it's totally curbing the habit there. Now, I've tried bubbly and LaCroix and all that stuff, and I just feel like there's not enough flavor to it, so I find that this actually really got me off of soda. I still have one from time to time, but that has definitely helped me change that aspect of my life.
Next up on our list is a really nice coffee pot. Now, a drip coffee pot would work just as fine, but if you're anything like me and you like those fancy Starbucks drinks, a nicer coffee pot will definitely help you out. Personally, I have a Ninja that has 2 baskets, one for coffee and one for tea. There's also a ton of settings on there that can help me make cold brew, iced coffee, strong coffee, and 10 different kinds of tea. My favorite part about it is there's actually a milk frother that pops off the side, and it helps me make all those cool foams.
So that one actually, it was a bit of an investment at first. I think for a coffee pot, it was a bit expensive. It's about $150, I think. But the reality of it is we would have saved that and then some by now going to Starbucks. And the reason it kind of made this list for us, honestly, is because I think a lot of people on keto really like coffee, especially fatty coffee or, bulletproof coffee, if you want to call it that. That's kind of where this really comes in, because having that frother on the side really helps get your MCT oilers and your heavy whipping creams beat in there. But also, let's be honest, Starbucks is convenient, but they really, they burn their coffee. I don't think it's a great taste. You have to be very careful with them, because a lot of their drinks, even if you just tell them you want black coffee, they have this thing called their classic syrup or something to that nature. And basically it just means they put it in everything and you explicitly have to ask them not to. Even if you order just a black coffee, I've had them put it in there. I get halfway down the block, I take a sip of it and I realize that they screwed up my order. I have to go back around. It's a huge pain in the butt. Having this really allows us to make those fancy drinks that we wanted. Well, I mostly drink black coffee, so the fancy drinks that she wanted without having to worry about going through Starbucks, spending the extra money, and dealing with the BS. Now, the next thing on our list is an Instant Pot. And I was actually fairly skeptical about this at first because we have a slow cooker. I thought that was good enough. But as it turns out, the pressure cooker settings on the Instant Pot are remarkably useful, and it really did earn its spot on our list of most used keto items. We both live incredibly busy lives. We work full-time jobs. go to the gym right after work. By the time we're home, it's 7:30, 8 o'clock. We're trying to get dinner ready, work on stuff for Black Sheep Keto or, Instagram, whatever we're doing. It's just chaos. And the thing I like about these Instant Pots is not only can you use it as a slow cooker and cook something all day if you remember to do it in the morning, but also if you get home and you just realize you've got nothing thaw, nothing to go with, it's really easy to pop something in there with a pressure cooker setting and you can have really nice cooked meat in like less than 30 minutes. There's a ton of things you can do with that pressure cooker, and I've even made some great soups in it. But the reality of it is cooking at such a high pressure, you get really good flavor and really good cook through of the meat in not a lot of time. So that has saved my butt on a number of occasions.
So next up on our list is a gym membership. And when we say gym membership, we don't necessarily mean go to a grungy gym. You can go anywhere you want, just something that's going to help get you active and something that's going to help keep you moving.
And it's not really necessary, but I find that this is something that really does help with weight loss. My first 9-10 months on keto, I lost a bunch of weight, but honestly, I did not step foot in a gym. It's been about 3 years now that I've actually been actively training and about 4 years on keto. But I realized that once I started going to the gym, my weight loss did increase a lot, but also I was able to look better. I put on strength, I wasn't feeling scrawny. Because when you lose weight, no matter what you do, you are going to lose some muscle mass. There's nothing you can do about that. Even on keto, you will lose a little bit. So being able to put that back on is great. And even if you don't want a gym membership, we're not asking you to go train somewhere like we do. We train at a place called Iron Addicts here in Las Vegas. It's a big bodybuilder, powerlifter gym. During Mr. Olympia, that place is full. We met the Mountain from Game of Thrones. He was training there, Halflor Bjornsson. It's a crazy place. I love that because it's super motivational for me to see guys like that. And I'm like, wow, that guy just picked up 900 pounds. Maybe I can only do 500, 600, 700 right now. But if they can do 9, so can I. So it's kind of this internal motivation. But if that's not you, it's all right. Like a 24-hour fitness, Planet Fitness, anything to get you moving is a great step. So the last one on the official list before we get to our honorable mentions is a blood meter. Now, some of you guys are going to go, well, shouldn't that have ranked higher? And no, I actually don't even think it really belongs on this list entirely, but I do use mine quite a bit, mostly for filming purposes. The purpose of a blood ketone meter is literally just to check if you're in ketosis. If you are basically seeing any reasonable number on there, you're doing great. I don't really stress out over the exact number, but some people want that affirmation that they are in ketosis. And some people go out and buy those urine strips. Well, to be honest, guys, those don't really do anything. They're very easy to trick. Depending on your hydration levels, it can look like you're not in ketosis if you are. There's just a ton of problems with the urine strips. So if you're gonna do it, go with a blood meter. There's 3 on the market right now. There's the Keto Mojo, the Keto Sense, and the Keto Coach. And later next month, I'm going to do a video comparing all 3 of them because I have used and currently own all 3 of them. But for now, just know that if you want a way to check your ketones, just to give you that kind of mental security that you are in ketosis, get a good blood meter. You can find them on Amazon. There'll be one linked in the description. So now I've got 2 more things. And these are things that I wanted to put on the list, but Olivia we had this discussion. It kind of seemed like there were things that I really like and things that I use all the time, but the average person isn't as weird as me and they're not gonna do it.
They're kind of oddball things, but they're both my favorite things on this list too.
Yeah, these would have been number 1 for me, but not for everybody. So let's get into it. Now I'll save the best for last, but this next one is a meat grinder. It's actually a meat grinder sausage maker combo. Again, I do hunt. Having a meat grinder is awesome, but also what I can do is I will go to my butcher and I can buy a really nice chuck steak and grind it up into fresh ground beef, which makes killer hamburgers and basically any other type of ground beef awesome. The stuff you get from the store that's in that shrink wrap tube, it sucks. Once you've been just kind of eating a lot of meat for a while, you turn into a meat snob, I guess. And those frozen discs I get from Sam's Club, I can't eat those anymore.
We can't go back to those.
Yeah, once I started grinding my own meat, it could never happen. And I can get a good chuck steak for $5 a pound, and that makes phenomenal ground beef. Also, Olivia is allergic to vegetables, so we use that to actually grind our liver into the ground beef. That way she gets the vitamins she needs. And also, my butcher's cool. I can get $7 a pound for Wagyu chuck and make a super awesome Wagyu burger or tacos or whatever I'm doing. So I use that meat grinder a ton. I've used it to make sausage a few times, but mostly just the grinder setting. And the last thing, this is probably number 1 on my list. I use this thing every freaking day, and it is my Traeger. It's actually a pellet smoker. If you guys aren't familiar with what Traeger is, we didn't want to put it on the list because not everybody has the space for it. Not everybody wants to smoke meat, and not everybody can afford them. They are quite expensive, but I've had mine for a long time. The whole idea of it is I can buy bags of pellets, which are actually a lot easier to tell when I'm running low than like propane. And they do sell those at Walmart or Sam's Club for like 15 bucks for 40 pounds. So it's a pretty good deal. In any case, I'm always smoking some type of a brisket, pulled pork. We just did a Peking duck today. Basically anything you can think of, I run it on the smoker, and it's a really good for meal prep because I can get a 15-pound brisket. By the time I'm done with the cooking process, I'm left with maybe 10, 11 pounds. Slice it up, and we got lunches for the week. Even at that, like the wood burning flavor tastes great on steaks, burgers, anything. So like that is probably the thing that gets me excited to like eat at home the most, is because I go to a restaurant and they've cooked like a steak on a propane burner. I can taste the propane. When I cook it on that Traeger and I get that wood flavor, it just tastes much better to me, and hands down my favorite thing that I've bought. Now, I do appreciate you guys sticking with us through this, and again, this is just kind of our take on the 10, 12 best things that we have purchased for keto or that we've acquired over the past 4 or 5 years that have really helped our keto lifestyle. Now, if there's anything that really has helped you guys out that we didn't mention here, because there were a lot of things that we couldn't really bring up, just let us know down in the comment section. I'm really curious what you guys think is probably the most useful things that you've purchased or just acquired for a keto diet. With that, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and close the video. If you like this video, leave it a like. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down in the comment section. And if you have not subscribed yet, do us a huge favor, guys. Hit that subscribe button, join our little flock, and I will see you in the next one.